white or cream color. If it's brown, you may want to go down further. Sometimes I don't. I want to give it a little more time. The cane is a little green, a little brown. It might change and come back, and then the pith will be white eventually. It might all green up, maybe by May, or it might go the other way. By May it may be completely brown, which is why you come back later and you do a little more pruning. So that's what the pith is. You can see it's kind of brown on the inside. You want that to be white, but if you're really concerned that you don't want to be cutting and cutting and cutting until you find the white, cut where you may see a bud in green cane, and just keep an eye on it and see which way it turns. Over here we have some really nice buds. I'm going to cut up wherever there isn't a bud, and I'm going to snip off every tip. You don't want to leave anything that's coming above the last bud. You don't want to leave these little tips. So I get rid of that, get rid of that. Now, if the climate got too big for you personally, for instance, you have a climbing rose near your front door and it's snagging you every time you go, you can cut it back. If you don't like it to be that big, you can cut it back. But you don't have to cut it down like the hybrid teas. That's the mistake that people make. There's a little bud here, and the rest of it, there's nothing. I'm going to snip that. I'm going to snip that. Also, it's a rose hip. These are the rose hips from last year. We're going to snip all of those off. So you're basically just cleaning this up a little bit.
Also, sometimes you have like a pillar or an obelisk that you have a climbing rose in, and most likely that climb is going to get too big for the obelisk. So that's when you do kind of contain and cut it back a little.
I'm going to take this because there are no buds on it.
If you have a climbing rose that's going up onto the roof, and the roof is not much of a slope at all, doesn't seem to have any problems, moving along the top of the roof. Is the trellis really necessary?
The trellis is probably good just to have some airflow underneath. Even trellises on houses, on walls of houses, I build my own trellises, and when I put them up against the house, I put a pressure-treated cleat on the top and the bottom, about 1.5 inches thick, round. Take a 2x4 and grip it, and then cut at the width of the trellis. One goes up on top, one goes up on the bottom, and then I nail the trellis to the cleat so there's a little airflow behind it. Especially on a roof, you're going to want to have that airflow. What else can I take here? All these little bits. And what you want to be left with, you know what? This may have to go. Eventually I'll cut down a little bit lower. It's still brown. Eventually I may have to take this. But what you should end up with is every end gets snipped. There's a little bud here. I'm going to see how that comes along. And it's white inside. I don't know if you can see that, but the pith is white. So it's tedious, and we do some really massive roses, but I snip every tip off and every end and everything that's black and brown. And this is really all you need to do for a climbing rose.